As a reminder, coaches, you are not allowed in the tiled area. You must remain on the carpet. Coaches, you must be on the carpeted area. Okay, bowlers, please return to your starting lane. You have 5 minutes remaining in practice on your starting lanes only.
You get the pano shot, Lucas?
Hi, Lucas.
Athletes, practice is now ended. Please hold up on all practice deliveries. Altering the surface of a bowling ball by the use of abrasives, cleaners, or polish is prohibited during competition. Bowlers may not pat finger or thumb holes of the bowling ball during competition with rosin. Competition is defined as any time participants are bowling for score. Remember that if you choose to alter any equipment, you must notify tournament staff prior to having it done. For competition this morning, athletes will be bowling 8 standard games on pre-assigned lanes. After each game, student athletes assigned to the right lane will move right 1 pair, and athletes assigned to the left lane will move left 1 pair within their division. Athletes, please make sure that you initial recaps and verify scores after each game. To start your next game, you will need to hit the check mark on the scores. Again, at the start of the next game, you'll need to hit the check mark on the scores. After qualifying, we'll have a competition break. Lunch will be served in the lounge where we had our players meeting. Also, as a reminder, group photos will be taken today during that competition break, and all athletes are required to be present for photos. Practice will begin at 12:45 p.m. sharp. Once tournament play begins, there is no flash photography permitted or lights used for video cameras. Artificial noisemakers are also not permitted. As a reminder, USBC Collegiate does not condone the use of alcohol and tobacco. Student athletes are prohibited from possessing and using alcohol and tobacco products at the host hotel, host bowling center, and at all event-related functions, whether they are competing or not. Smoking in the bowling center during competition is strictly prohibited. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the best collegiate athletes in the country a big send-off as they begin their qualifying block. Good luck and good bowling.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our live coverage of the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships here on Bowl TV. Just about to get underway here with Game 1 of qualifying. Our women's featured pair on the left side of your screen. Got Samantha Morlack of Adelphi and Tanya Ramapur of Wichita State. And on the men's featured pair on the right side of your screen, Aaron Lawrence, Saginaw Valley. We've got A.J. Johnson from Moorhead State, Joey Copera of St. Ambrose. Format pretty simple for the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. It's 8 games of qualifying here this morning. We'll see all of the bowlers in the field for at least one game. And then we have a single elimination match play bracket this afternoon, and that'll determine the players who advance to the TV finals on Saturday. A lot of strikes on the men's pair so far early on. In fact, nobody has missed yet. Pattern today, 44 feet, 25.5 mils of oil, and about 2.6 to 1 ratio. Another strike. So AJ Johnson goes 3 for 3. Aaron Lawrence has also gone 3 for 3, and Joe Copera trying to keep that going on that pair. So all 3 of our men's players with the front 3 this first game. Couple opens on the women's pair here early on in this game. You'll notice that there's only 2 women and 3 men on these featured pairs. We've got 16 women, so they've only got 2 on a pair. And we've got 24 men, so they're 3 on a pair. 32-lane Sun Valley lanes here in Lincoln, Nebraska. There's Tanya Ramaper of Wichita State. Double open strike to start for her. So all 3 men's players with the front 4 here in this opening game. Nice split conversion there for Samantha Morlack. So we got 8 games of qualifying here today and this morning's session, and then the single elimination match play bracket this afternoon that'll determine the final 4 men and 4 women who advance to the TV shows. Another strike for AJ. As the strikes continue to flow here on 17 and 18. Easily the highest scoring pair in the house right now. Let's see if Copera can keep it going. And the 10-pin ends the string on this pair. We had 14 strikes before we finally had a miss on this pair. So a very high scoring start to the tournament. Morlack covers up the 3-6-9-10 on the women's side. Aaron Lawrence on the far right side of your screen here going for the front 6. And he gets the 10 out. And now let's see if AJ Johnson can make it the front 6 as well here on our featured pairs. AJ gets it done, so we got 2 players with the front 6 here on the featured pairs. As we are in game 1 of 8, qualifying at the Intercollegiate Singles. Our thanks to xbowling for their sponsorship of the Intercollegiate Singles and Intercollegiate Team Championships. We'll have live coverage for you here on Bowl TV all day today, Thursday and Friday. CBS Sports Network will be in the house on Saturday, and they will record 4 TV shows, the Intercollegiate Singles Men and Women and the Intercollegiate Team Men and Women. And those shows will air every Friday in May at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports Network. So here's Aaron Lawrence now, 7th frame. He's been perfect so far. Can he keep it going? Looked like he didn't like it off his hand there, and it goes through the face and leaves the big 4. AJ Johnson trying to keep it going on that side, and no problem for AJ. Front 7. Compare with a split as well here in the 7th. We'd like to see the lane assignments for today. You can click the link underneath the video you're watching. I don't think you get to the results and live scoring page. They're still working on getting the live scoring activated, but you can look at the lane assignments for qualifying, and that'll tell you who will be on the featured pairs this morning and what game they'll be on. Again, our featured pairs are 15 and 16 for the women, 17 and 18 for the men. AJ Johnson now with the front 8. Here in this first game. I see some players stringing some strikes here in game 1, but nobody with the has a string as long as AJ's going. By comparison, our women's pair, a little more low scoring. Samantha Morlack with only 1 strike here in this first game, but just 1 open. 115 in the 7th, and she's shooting that 3.6910 for the 2nd time this game. Tanya Ramanpur, 134 in the 7th and a strike in the 8th. Open frame for Morlack. 123 in the 8th for her. Aaron Lawrence up in the 9th. And the only blemish this game, the split in the 7th. Went front 6, open strike, the 9th frame. And leaves the 7-pin. Tanya Ramanpur about to be up on lane 16. looking for a double here in the ninth. Gets that one a little right. Leaves the bucket. A.J. Johnson with another one. Front nine. So spread the word that AJ's got the front nine here. We've just posted a Facebook update to alert everybody. But help us spread the word on Facebook and Twitter. Get everybody tuned in for this final frame for AJ. And let's see what happens here. Up in the 10th strike. His max going to be 242 this game. Samantha Morlack looks like she's going to be in the 160s. Tanya Ramenper can get to 204 if she strikes out. Big story this first game, though, is A.J. Johnson, who is going for the perfect game here with the front nine. So we'll take it full screen to AJ. AJ Johnson from McKendree with the front nine here in game one. And he comes up a little light. Leaves the 2-4 after a good run here in this first game. So A.J. Johnson had the front nine. If you're just tuning in, you can see him on the right side of your screen there. Oh, and he opens in the 10th. So A.J. goes front nine, leaves the 2-4, misses it, and shoots 266. Now be sure to keep an eye on our coverage throughout the day today here. We will find out the final 4 men and final 4 women who make the TV show here at the Intercollegiate Singles. A.J. Johnson off to a great start with 266. Aaron Lawrence 232. Samantha Morlack 161. Tanya Ramenper 194 here on our featured pairs. We've got 8 games of qualifying this morning, just finishing game 1. And we will have match play starting this afternoon here on Bowl TV. So be sure to check back in with us throughout the day if you can't watch all day long. Plenty of great action expected throughout the day. And intercollegiate team championships getting underway Thursday and Friday, all right here live on Bowl TV. This is the pinnacle events of the college bowling season. Our thanks to xbowling and their sponsorship of these great events. And again, if you're just tuning in, A.J. Johnson from McKendree had the front nine, left the 2-4 in the 10th frame, and opened for 266 here in this first game. Joey Copera of St. Ambrose, 213 this first game. That opened by A.J. Johnson in the 10th will cause him to not be in the lead after the first game because Mike Kahn shot 279. Mike Kahn from Morehead State. So our first game has come to a close here on our featured pair. So we'll wait for the bowlers to move to their next pairs to get started. Looks like we'll have Alexa Anderson from Weber International coming into our women's pair. She's the first one to move over. So while we wait for the next game to get started, we'll step away and be back in just a minute here live on Bowl TV.
This live event is brought to you in part by the YES Fund. The Youth Education Services Fund is a joint initiative of the bowling industry dedicated to development and marketing of youth bowling at all levels. The YES Fund is generously supported by its founding partners: North Point, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Ebonite, 900 Global, Hammer, Cubica AMF, Rotogrid, Storm, and Track. For more information about the YES Fund, go to bowl.com/YESFund.
All right, about to get started here with game 2. Gonna have Samantha Johnson, Lindenwood, Alexa Anderson of Weber International. And on our men's featured pair, Jacob Kent of Robert Morris, Illinois. Got Andy Mills and John Trzynski. Andy Mills of Viterbo and John Trzynski of Weber International here for this second game. And the pattern, 44 feet, 25.5 mils, 2.61 to 1 ratio. Here for this intercollegiate singles event. Allie IGM is leading the way on the women's side with 278 the first game. Jazriel Tan in second at 229. So Wichita State occupying the top 2 spots in the women's standings after game 1 on the women's side. Caitlin Mayall of Weber International 201 and Tanya Ramapur of Wichita State 194. That's your top 4 after game 1 on the women's side. Still waiting on a pair to finish on the men's side. But Mike Kahn, Morehead State 279, AJ Johnson, McKendree 266, and Jacob Borsch shot 256 in game 1. We are live from Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. Lucas Wiseman here with you this morning as we are kind of settling into qualifying here at the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles. Just underway in game 2. All of the men have finished up the first game now. And Mike Kahn does lead, 279. A.J. Johnson, 266. Jacob Borsch, 256. And Andy Mills, 247. Brandon Barboza, 245. Derek Phillips, 244. Aaron Lawrence, 232. Matt Kruger, 224. Paul Garwood, 214. Jerry Capera, 213. So some good scores on the men's side in game one. Scores not quite as high on the women's side. Only 2 players who got to 220 or better. They bowl 8 games of qualifying this morning, and then we'll head into the single elimination match play bracket this afternoon. And the final 4 men and final 4 women in that bracket will advance to the televised finals, to be taped on Saturday, and it will air on Friday nights in May on CBS Sports Network. Anderson gets that one a little bit to the right, leaves the 2-10 split here in the 4th. John Trzynski up on lane 17. It's a double start for John. Nice shot there by Alexa Anderson for the strike in the 5th. Again, we're going to see all the players cross onto our featured pairs at some point here in qualifying this morning. 8 games, and they bowl in 8 pairs, so they will eventually cross in front of us here. So we'll see everybody here this morning. Triple start for John Trzynski. He is perfect to start here in this second game. Seventh frame for Alexa Anderson. Pocket 7-10 split. Samantha Johnson's got a pretty good game going here. She had an open triple spare double so far for the Lindenwood bowler. Jacob Kent trying to go for 4 in a row here in the 5th. And he leaves the 2-8-10. Just tuning in, you're watching our live coverage of the xBowling Intercollegiate Singles qualifying. Match play will be coming up this afternoon. Match play scheduled to start at 12:45 p.m. Central Time. And there's 3 rounds of match play to determine our TV finalist. So again, Allie Ijam's leading on the women's side after game 1 with 278. Mike Kahn leading the men with a 279 in the first game. We are in game 2. Samantha Johnson with a little bit of a lucky strike there in the 9th. John Trzynski delivers a strike in the 6th. Alexa Anderson, 9th frame, looking for a double. And gets the 10 to go down a little bit late. Again, we're in game 2 of 8 right now. Women's pair 15 and 16, men's pair 17 and 18. If you click the link below the video you're watching, or if you click the link on bowl.com, you can find the qualifying lane assignments on that page. And that'll let you know who's coming up on the featured pairs. Johnson with a 4-pin leave here in the 10th. Jacob Kent with a nice shot there in the 7th after back-to-back splits for opens. Samantha Johnson just did make that 4-pin. Looked like it might skate past it for a second there. She's going to be in the 2 teens this game. 212 to be exact if she strikes on the fill. Alexa Anderson struck first shot in the 10th. If she strikes out, she will also shoot 212. A reminder that coverage of the xBowling Intercollegiate Team Championships gets underway on Thursday morning, and we'll go all the way through Friday night until we know the teams that have advanced to the TV show. Jacob Kent looking for a double, and he finds it. So he recovers after the back-to-back opens, back-to-back strikes. Alexa Anderson, fill ball. Nice finish for her this game. Closes it out with 5 in a row for 212. Samantha Johnson with 211. The score's a little higher on our women's featured pair that game. And the score's a little bit lower on the men's featured pair here in game 2. It's kind of cooled off a little bit on the men's side. Watch our men's featured pair finish up here in game 2 while we wait for some new bowlers to come in on our women's featured pair. They bowl pretty fast over there. Oof. There's a bad open there for John Trzynski. We are in the 9th frame here on our men's featured pair. Jacob Kent, Robert Morris, Illinois. Past junior Team USA member. And one of the top college bowlers in the country. And he delivers a nice looking strike for 3 in a row. John Trzynski. 9th frame, trying to mentally rebound after that open in the 8th. And he leaves 10 pin. Andy Mills over Turbo. He pulls that one. Leaves the 3-6-10 here in the 10th. Andy's max now sits at 225. See AJ Johnson off the distance, missing a single pin in the 7th. It's a rare sight there. Tenth frame for Kent. He delivers a 4th consecutive strike. Andy Mills finishes at 222. As we wrap up game 2 on our featured pair. Still waiting for them to get going on the women's featured pair. See if Jacob Kent can get a 5th consecutive strike here. And he does. John Trzynski, 10th frame. Max of 219 out there for John. Oh, and it's a 2-8-10 split here in the 10th. So now it looks like unless he can find a way to make this, he is going to be stuck in the 190s. Another strike for Kent as he strikes out for 234. So here's our final shot here in game 2 on our featured pair. Trzynski with the open in the 10th for 195. So Mills 222, Trzynski 195, and Jacob Kent 234.
This live event is brought to you in part by the Yes Fund. The Youth Education Services Fund is a joint initiative of the bowling industry dedicated to development and marketing of youth bowling at all levels. The Yes Fund is generously supported by its founding partners: North Point, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Ebonite, 900 Global, Hammer, Cubica AMF, Rotogrid, Storm, and Track. For more information about the Yes Fund, go to bowl.com/yesfund.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching our live coverage of the Intercollegiate Singles Championships here on Bowl TV, brought to you by xbowling. Lucas Wiseman with you as we are in Game 3 on our women's featured pair. Still waiting for the men to move over to get started with Game 3. Can 3 on a pair on the men's side, so it takes them a bit longer to bowl a game. We're in the 5th frame on our women's featured pair here in this 3rd game. Got Jazreel Tan leading the women's division. Run through those scores for you here in just a second. So Jazreel Tan of Wichita State leading the women at 484. Her teammate Allie Ijams at 447 in second place. Brianne Underwood third at 407. Samantha Johnson 390, and Tanya Ramanpur rounds out the top 5 at 377. Liz Colton trying to pick up the 10 pin here. Gets it done. Match play will be coming up a little bit later on today. 12:45 p.m. Central Time is when we get started with match play here in the singles event. Looks like the men are starting to move on to the featured pair and should get started here in just a second. We'll go ahead and flip over to the split screen. Culkin mixes them up for a strike in the 6th. A much needed strike for her here this game. Jacob Borsch of Clark up on the right lane to start things off on the men's pair here in Game 3. Also Brandon Barboza of William Penn and Marshall Kent of Robert Morris, Illinois on our men's pair here for this 3rd game. Mike Kahn at 518 leading the men's side. Matt Kruger 470. Andy Mills 469. AJ Johnson 468. As all of the men's participants have finished Game 2 and now underway with Game 3. 8 games of qualifying this morning to seed the players into the bracket. First look at Marshall Kent here today, multiple-time Team USA member. Pulls that one and leaves the 6 pin here in the 1st frame. If you're looking for more information on this event, you can go to bowl.com/ISC. bowl.com/ISC is where you can find the homepage for the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships. Oh, a little late love on the 6 pin for Liz Culkin there. That's a triple for her. heading into the 9th frame. Barboza with a 10-pin here in the second on our men's featured pair. Another strike for Culkin, 4 in a row, entering the 10th. Split conversion for Jacob Borsch. Both of our women's players stringing strikes going into the 10th. Brianne Underwood with 3 in a row. Liz Culkin with 4 in a row going into the 10th frame on the women's pair. Just finishing up the 2nd frame on our men's featured pair here in game 3. Marshall Kent with a strike. See if Brianne can keep it going here into the 10th. Looks good. It's 4 in a row. That'll put her in the 230s and a chance to get to the 240s here. Culkin will be in the 190s here this game. 194 is her max. Marshall Kent, 3rd frame, looking for a double. And leaves the 10-pin. 7 went a little late, but nothing came around and took the 10 out. Underwood with a spare to close out the 10th, and she shoots 235 in game 3, sits at 642. Culkin leaves a 6-pin for 193. That gives her 532 for the first 3 games. So it'll be a few minutes, it looks like, before we have our next group of players come on to the women's pair. So we'll take a full screen look at the men's pair as they are getting ready to start the 4th frame here in game 3. Just tuning in, you're watching live coverage of the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles here on Bowl TV. Brendan Barboza, William Penn up on the left lane. Jacob Borsch had 4 strikes in a row before that shot and leaves the 2-8. Gonna take it back to the split screen now. Watch Marshall Kent throw his 4th consecutive strike. Finally underway here on our women's pair. Dasha Kovalova from Wichita State leaves the bucket in the first frame. Game 4 underway on our women's pair, by the way. Still in game 3 on the men's. Caitlin Mile from Weber International. First frame leaves the 2-7-8. Split conversion there for Caitlin in the first. Nice shot by Barboza in the 8th. That's a double for him. Excuse me. So we're in the middle of qualifying here at the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles. Match play will be coming up this afternoon, 12:45 p.m. Central Time is when we'll start with match play. 3 rounds of match play. There are some buys to be had out there for the top 8 bowlers here in qualifying. split for Jacob Borsch in the 9th. 178 in the 9th frame for him. Finishing up game 3 on the men's side, and we are in game 4 on the women's side. Run through the women's standings here for you in just a second. Waiting for it to flash on the screen. Jazreel Tan, 683. Brianne Underwood, 642. Allie Ijam, 619. Alexa Anderson, 609, and Jessica Ernest, 599. Those are your top 5 on the women's side after 3 games. Caitlin, 4th frame. Working on an open. Leaves a 10-pin. This is just the start of our coverage here this week of college bowling. We again are in qualifying for the Intercollegiate Singles. Match play coming up this afternoon. Intercollegiate Team Championships gets underway Thursday and Friday. 2 full days of coverage of that event for you right here on Bowl TV. Eric asking in the chat how many games they bowled today. They bowled 8 games today in qualifying, and then match play coming up this afternoon. One thing to note on the women's side, Carrie Hopkinson of Florida A&M not bowling qualifying because of some travel problems. She did not get in and won't get in until this morning. And so she'll go into the bracket as the number 16 seed, assuming that she makes it in time for the bracket. The lane condition is 44 feet, 25.5 mils, 2.61 to 1 ratio, and Marshall Kent making it look pretty easy here this game. It's his 7th consecutive strike. 236 for Barboza, 196 for Jacob Borsch. Marshall Kent, one more shot to go here. 270 for Marshall Kent gives him 705 for the first 3 games. Barboza 236 puts him at 650. Jake Borsch 625 after shooting 196 that game. In the 8th frame on our women's featured pair. Finishing up game 4. Kayla Nile of Weber International with the strike. She'll take it. Doesn't look too happy about it though. Dasha Kovalova, Wichita State. She leaves the 10-pin on that shot. Looks like the guy's actually already ready to go here. So we'll go back over to the split screen. We've got Christopher Davidson of Fresno State. Francois Lavoie of Wichita State. They're getting started with game 4 on that pair. We've also got Matt Kruger of Viterbo on the men's featured pair here in game 4. Caitlin with an open in the 9th. .172 in the 9th for Caitlin. Kovalova here in the 9th frame looking to pick up the spare. Looks like Caitlin's going to go up and check the approach here. They're still working on the live scoring. Looks like they still working on that. Looks like it may be up and running now. Not sure that that's quite working yet, but they're working on getting the live scoring operational here. Hopefully we'll have it in time for match play this afternoon. But our thanks to the folks at xbowling. They had a great tournament app for you, tournament edition app. You can see live scoring from the Open and Women's Championships on that app. So be sure to go to the App Store and download the xbowling tournament edition app. Wrapping up game 4 on our women's pair. Just started with game 4 on the men's pair. .188 for Kovalova. 781 for the first 4 games for her. Again, that's for 4 games. Caitlin strikes on the fill for 192. That puts her 4-game total at 739. So we will go full screen to the guys' pair, since the women will have a little bit of a short break here while they get geared up for game 5. Francois with a 7-pin here in the 3rd. Jazreel Tan kind of running away from the women's field, 9:20. Alexa Anderson, 8:34. Brianne Underwood, 8:32 after 4 games. Francois misses the 7-pin. And the qualifying standings are available on bowl.com. bowl.com/ISC, or you can click the link under the video you're watching. Click the link for the qualifying standings, and if you've opened it before, you may need to refresh to get the most recent update, but it is updated after 3 games. Mike Kahn with 766 for the first 3 games on the men's side. He leads the way. A.J. Johnson at 724, Marshall Kent 705, Aaron Lawrence 704, Brock Finch in 5th at 693. Just about ready to get started on the women's pair as well. So we'll go back to the split screen. We've got Jackie Carbonetto of Sacred Heart and Jazreel Tan of Wichita State. So Jazreel, our tournament leader, at 9:20. Jackie comes into this game at 770. Starts off with a 9-pin. Appreciate everybody tuning in this morning for live coverage of singles qualifying here at the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships. Lucas Wiseman with you. We're at Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. About halfway through Game 4 on our men's featured pair and just underway with Game 5 on the women's pair. And once again, 8 games of qualifying. Jazreel Tan, second frame. Jazreel pretty much has been dominating the field so far. 920 for the first 4, leads by more than 90 pins, or not quite 90 pins. Alexa Anderson is at 834, so about 86 pin lead for Jazreel. Brianne Underwood at 832, Tanya Ramanpur 814, Ali Ijam's at 806. That's your top 5 on the women's side after 4 games. Scoring pace pretty low on our men's featured pair right now. A lot of open frames, a lot of splits out there. It started out as a very high scoring day on the men's side, with A.J. Johnson starting with the front 9. And there are a few high scores on the men's side, but right now, scores really have come to a screeching halt here on the featured pair on the men's side. Got Francois working on a double. But that's the only double so far this game on the men's side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 opens through 5 frames for the 3 players. It's a lot of opens. 4 of them were splits. Watching live coverage of the Intercollegiate Singles Championships here on Bowl TV. Open frame for Jazriel Tan. That's 4 open frames in a row for her after starting with a double. So her lead on the field is going away in a hurry here in this 5th game. On our men's pair, they're in the 8th frame currently. Eight total games of qualifying. You can find the results on bowl.com/ISC, or you can click the link on the underneath the video you're watching here. Our thanks to xbowling for their sponsorship of this great event. Of course, other sponsors are the Yes Fund, the Youth Education Services Fund. It's a great fund set up by our partners who helps promote youth bowling. Let's run through some of the sponsors of this year's events. Jack Link's Rockstar Energy Drink, North Point, 900 Global, Roto Grip, Columbia 300, Brunswick, Bowling Proprietors Association of America, of course the United States Bowling Congress, Cubica AMF, Ebonite, Track, Hammer, Storm, Dexter, Strike 10 Entertainment, and Pepsi. So thank you to all of our sponsors. If I missed anybody, I apologize. And of course, xbowling, the title sponsor of the Collegiate Championships. 9th frame here in Game 4 on our men's pair. Jazriel Tan back on track after a really rough patch this game. 4 opens in a row. So double, 4 opens, double for Jazriel here in Game 5 on the women's pair. Again, Game 5 for the women, Game 4 for the men, currently in progress. And that's happening because we've got 2 women on a pair and 3 men on a pair. Match play scheduled to start at 12:45 p.m. Central Time. 3 rounds of matches in the single elimination match play bracket. Once they get to the bracket, the top 8 players have byes. And it'll be 3 games. Francois with 4 in a row on our men's pair closing out this game. He can get to 224. Christopher Davidson of Fresno State with a double in the 10th. He can get to 181. Jazriel Tan, 10th frame, coming up here. And there's another strike. So she's rebounded nicely after that bad stretch of 4 frames. Nice finish for Christopher Davidson. 181 for him. Matt Kruger of Viterbo, 10th frame. He can only max at 153 this game. .213 for Francois Lavoie. He sits at 742 for 4 games. Christopher Davidson had 767 for his first 4 games. He's reached the halfway point on the men's side. Jackie Carbonetto, Phil Ball. She leaves the 10 pin for 202. He gives her 972. Jazreel Tanshot 201 with 8 strikes and 4 opens. She shoots 11.21 for her first 5 games. Men's pair now starting game 5. Cruz Webster of Weber International in the first frame. We've also got Derek Phillips of Martin Methodist and Paul Garwood of William Patterson. All 3 players start with a strike here on our men's featured pair. The women have just wrapped up game 5, and we should be getting some new bowlers onto our featured pair here in just a moment. Jazreel Tan still leading the women's side at 11:21. Tanya Ramanpur in second at 10:52. Ali Ijam's third at 10:27. So Wichita State occupies the top 3 spots in the standings. On our women's featured pair, we'll have Jessica Ernest of Vanderbilt and Erin Michaelfelder, Lindenwood, coming up here. They're about to get started on that pair. So game 6 underway on the women's pair, game 5 underway on the men's pair. As we're moving right along here at the Intercollegiate Singles. What a nice split conversion there for Cruz Webster in the third. Appreciate everybody joining us here this morning. Match play promises to be very exciting this afternoon. There's 3-game total pinfall matches, similar to what the Queens Masters, Senior Queens have. Always very exciting format. And hopefully we'll have some tight matches for you on our featured pairs this afternoon. That'll be coming up at 12:45 p.m. Central Time, live from Sun Valley Lanes here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nice looking shot there from Paul Garwood. Run through the men's scores for you here in just a moment after 4 games. Let's go ahead and do it now. Mike Kahn, 979. Adam Johnson, it's AJ Johnson at 941. Marshall Kent, 930. Aaron Lawrence, 916. And Brock Finch at 906. Your top 5 after 4 games on the men's side. They are in game 5 right now. The women are in game 6. Jazreel Tan, Tanya Ramapour, Ali Ijams, your top 3. Brianne Underwood in 4th. And Alexa Anderson is 5th. Those are the only 5 women who are plus after 5 games. We got Jessica Ernest up on the left lane right now, working on a spare. Jessica at 949, which I think puts her in about 10th place. Cruz Webster up in the 5th frame. And goes high, leaves the 4-pin here in the 5th. Jessica Ernest, 3rd frame. Double-hander Derek Phillips misses the headpin to the right. It's the 6 count. Watching live coverage of the X-Bowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships. I'm Lucas Wiseman of USBC, bringing you the action here from Sun Valley Lanes. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at USBC. You can follow X-Bowling at xbowling as well. And you can follow me at Lucas_Wiseman. That's a lot of Twitters to follow, huh? You can follow me at Lucas_Wiseman. You need to follow at USBC, and you should also follow at X-Bowling. And the folks at X-Bowling are frantically working on getting that live scoring up and running, so hopefully we'll have it good to go for match play this afternoon, but they are working hard at it. Some new technology, so still a work in progress. Still working out some of the kinks. Michael Felder getting ready to step up on the left lane on our women's featured pair. They're about halfway through game 6. It's a good shot. Leaves the 9-pin though. Garwood shooting the single pin, covers it up in the 7th. Aaron trying to get it together here after missing a couple of single pins in a row. Double-handed Phillips with the strike in the 8th. Jessica Ernest strike in the 6th. Question in the chat about the pattern. It is 44 feet, 25.5 mils of oil, 2.61 to 1 ratio. So it is a USBC Sport Bowling compliant pattern. Cruz Webster for Weber International up. Ninth frame. Leaves the split. It's the 10th frame for Cruz, and he leaves another split, back-to-back splits. And unless he can find a way to make this 2-4-10, he'll shoot about 170 this game. There, Michael Felder with a double on our women's pair, and Jessica Ernest has strung 3 strikes together in a row. Ernest goes a little high on that one, leaves the 9 pin, so that'll end her string. Cruz Webster shoots 171, his 5-game total at 1048. Strike for a shot in the 10th for Garwood. He can get to 202. Here's the fill for Derek Phillips. He shoots 185. Second strike in the 10th for Garwood. 10th frame of game 6 on our women's pair. Michael Felder gets a little lucky to make that spare, so she'll be in the 190s, despite a couple of missed single pins. And Jessica Ernest going to be in the 2 teens this game. Here's her fill ball. Puts her at 215. So 191 for Michael Felder, 215 for Ernest. As we wrap up game 6 on the women's side and game 5 on the men's side. getting ready to start on our women's pair. It's only one bowler this game. It's Christina Michelson. Because Carrie Hopkinson was scheduled to be on this pair. But Carrie missed her flight yesterday, had travel disruption, and so she will, if she makes it in time, be seated number 16 in the bracket. Bracket play scheduled to get started at 12:45 Central Time. Still waiting for some bowlers to come on to our men's featured pair. Michelson with a strike in the second. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a moment here on Bowl TV.
This live event is brought to you in part by the Yes Fund. The Youth Education Services Fund is a joint initiative of the bowling industry dedicated to development and marketing of youth bowling at all levels. The Yes Fund is generously supported by its founding partners: North Point, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Ebonite, 900 Global, Hammer, Cubica AMF, Rotogrid, Storm, and Track. For more information about the Yes Fund, go to bowl.com/yesfund.
Our men's featured pair, we're going to have Cody Reichenberger of Weber International, Devin Bidwell of Wichita State, and Ronnie Fujita of Lindenwood coming up for Game 6. We'll run through the women's standings for you here in just a moment. Give me a second to call them up here. Jazreel Tan leading after 6 games with 1378. Tanya Ramanpur in second at 1285. Ali Ijam's third at 1230. Jackie Carbonetto in fourth at 1216. And Brianne Underwood in fifth at 1212. That's after 6 games on the women's side. And you can find those results at bowl.com/ISC or click the link below the video you're watching. And then should be getting started here in just a moment with their 6th game. AJ Johnson leading the field at 1177. Brock Finch in second at 1173. Mike Kahn third at 1159. Brandon Barboza 1125 and Ronnie Fujita 1120. Round out the top 5 after 5 games. Michelson with an open in the 5th. Christina in 8th place at 11.85 coming into this game. Christina's had a couple of good games after a slow start. She started off the day 173, 158, 170, and then turned it up a notch, 212, 245, 227. So she's had a good run of this last 6 games, or last 3 games. Looks pretty good right there. Rings a 10-pin though. Here's our first look at Ronnie Fujita to kick off game 6 on our men's featured pair. He slaps around that 9-pin for a strike. All right, so Christina Michelson is finishing up Game 7 on our women's pair. Again, Carrie Hopkinson was scheduled to be on that pair. She had some travel disruptions, didn't make it in. And if she makes it in time for match play, she'll be seated number 16 in the women's bracket. And our men's pair, they are in Game 6 right now in the 3rd frame. Cody Reichenberger up for Weber International, trips the 2-pin for the triple. Also have Devin Bidwell and Ronnie Fujita on the featured pair on the men's side this game. Qualifying coming up about 2.5 hours or so, 12:45 p.m. Central Time is when match play will get started. Qualifying wrapping up here in the next hour and a half or so. So we'll have a little bit longer than an hour break while they recondition the lanes and get geared up for the match play bracket. And this afternoon we have 3 rounds of matches that will determine the TV finalists. And the TV shows will be taped on Saturday. All 4 shows going to be taped Saturday, this team and the singles. Tenth frame for Christina and ring 10. So she's going to be in the 190s if she covers that up. Hope that everybody's having a great morning. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us here at Sun Valley Lanes on Bowl TV. Fourth frame for Fujita. He's got the front 3 this game. Let's see if he can keep that going. And he does. Good looking shot there for Ronnie. Final shot for Christina is a strike, 192 for the Husker. Let's go full screen to the men's pair here for a few minutes while we wait for the final game to start on the women's side. Fujita up again, working on the front 4, trying to continue that string. Starting to see some strings of strikes going up this game on the men's side. See a few players stringing some strikes here in game 6 on the men's side. Ronnie's one of them. He's got the front 5. So this could potentially be a high-scoring game across the field as they settle in after the transition. Cody with a strike. Started 999 spare strike this game as we've reached the halfway point of Game 6 on our men's featured pair. Still waiting for Game 7 to get started on the women's side. They're still finishing up a few frames down there, so it'll be a few minutes. Here's Devin Bidwell, 6th frame, working on a strike. Standings updated after each game on bowl.com, bowl.com/ISC. After 5 games on the men's side, A.J. Johnson leading at 1177. Brock Finch in 2nd from Urbana at 1173. Mike Kahn, 1159. Brandon Barboza, 1126. And Ronnie Fujita, 1120. So Ronnie Fujita looking to make a move up the standings here this game. Cody sits in 12th place coming into this game. He leaves the 10 pin on that shot. Knocks the pin out. Now the run comes to an end for Ronnie with the 4-pin and the open. Had the front 7 prior to that. So his string of strikes comes to an end here. We're still waiting for the women's pair to get started. They should get started here in just a moment. There's Cody Reichenberger in the 9th frame working on a double. Turns it into a triple. Watching our live coverage of the X-Bowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships qualifying round here on Bowl TV. And wrapping up Game 6 on the men's side. Getting ready to start Game 8, the final game on the women's side. Going back to our split screen right after this shot. Devin Bidwell with a strike in the 10th. Got Allie Ijams from Wichita State. And we've got Morgan O'Brien from Clark for our final game on the women's side. After 7 games on the women's side, Jazriel Tan 16-13 leading the way. Tanya Ramenper 15-43. Jackie Carbonetto at 14-15. Allie Ijams is in 4th place at 14-14. And Dasha Kovalova in 5th at 14:08. Morgan O'Brien covers up the spare in the 1st. PBA prospect asking in the chat, when will the All-Americans be announced? And that will happen tomorrow night. We'll have that for you on Bowl.com tomorrow evening after the banquet. Ijams throws the high hard one at it. Gets a strike in the 2nd. .234 for Devin Bidwell. Spare for Cody is good in the 10th. He's going to be in the 230s. Everybody looks like they're going to be in the 230s this game on this pair. Yeah, 234 for Bidwell. Cody can get to 237 and Ronnie can get to 236. Watching live coverage of the X-Bowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships. I'm Lucas Wiseman. We're at Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. Match play coming up at 12:45 Central Time, right here on Bowl TV. 3 rounds of matches to determine the TV finalists this afternoon. Last shot on our men's featured pair here in game 6. Still 2 more games to go on the men's side. We're just about done with qualifying on the women's side. And the women only with 2 on a pair, so they bowl a little quicker. Allie working on a double. That one looked like it started to hook early and didn't really have a chance to get to the pocket. She leaves the 3-6 on that shot. We'll go full screen on the women's pair just for a little bit here while we wait to get started on the men's pair with our next game. Morgan O'Brien, 4th frame, working on a strike. Leaves the 10-pin. Appreciate everybody tuning in. This is just the appetizer here today for the singles tournament. Match play coming up this afternoon. And don't forget, the intercollegiate team will be all day Thursday and Friday right here on Bowl TV. We'll take you all the way leading up to the TV shows, which will be taped on Saturday and air on CBS Sports Network on Friday nights in May. 10-pin lead for Allie. Should be getting started here in just a moment on the men's pair. Morgan O'Brien, a junior Team USA member this year. Picked up a spot at the Team USA trials in January. Men are getting ready to get going. So we're going to go back to split screen mode here. Allie misses the 10-pin. We've got Graham Fa and Brock Finch both from Urbana, and Mike Kahn from Moorhead on our featured pairs for game number 7 on the men's side. Run through the men's standings here in just a moment. All of them have finished game 6. Mike Kahn, former junior Team USA member, has been near the top of the standings all day. And in fact, he is leading after 6 games at 1438. Got A.J. Johnson at 1400. Ronnie Fujita at 1356, Brock Finch at 1350, and Andy Mills at 1340. That's your top 5 after 6 games on the men's side. Brock Finch. Wheeling and dealing and striking in the second. In game 7 of 8 in progress on the men's pair. We're in the final stages of game 8 on our women's pair. They're in this, wrapping up the 6th frame. It's the last game of qualifying for the women. Open frame for Morgan O'Brien in the 6th. So back-to-back opens for her. Mike Kahn starts off with a double here in game 7. Nice shot there by Graham Fa in the 4th. We're in the 8th frame of our final game. Everybody else is just about finished up on the women's side. So they're going to have a nice break of about a little more than 2 hours before they get started with match play. Everybody will get started at 12:45 Central Time with match play. And we'll have 3 rounds back to back to back here this afternoon. We get started with intercollegiate team competition on Thursday. And that'll start about 8:45 a.m. Central Time. So be sure to mark your calendar for that. You can find the schedule for live streaming at bowl.com/livestream. bowl.com/livestream. Ninth frame on our women's pair. Not going particularly well for Morgan O'Brien here this game. It's not going so well for Allie Ijams either. 150 in the ninth for Allie. And if Morgan makes the spare, she's going to be at 104 in the eighth with a spare in the ninth. Halfway through game 7 on our men's pair. It's an open for Morgan, so she sits at 113 in the ninth frame as the women's pair enters the final frame. Going to be the final women's pair to finish. Jazreel Tan is going to be your leader. Be the top qualifier going into match play on the women's side. .133 for Morgan O'Brien. .170 for Allie Ijams as they have now finished on the women's side. So we'll go full screen to the men's side. Starting to wrap up game 7 here. The women are done. Jazriel Tan earns the top seed for the women's match play bracket. The brackets will be available on bowl.com/ISC as soon as they're available. Watching the conclusion of Game 7 on our men's featured pair. The women are done with their qualifying. As soon as we have the final standings, we'll let you know. .185 for Graham Fa. Mike Kahn, 10th frame. That was a little high and gets the 4 to go late. They're going to make a score correction here. Only gave him 9 for that. Mike's going to be in the 220s this game if he makes the spare.
This live event is brought to you in part by the Yes Fund. The Youth Education Services Fund is a joint initiative of the bowling industry dedicated to development and marketing of youth bowling at all levels. The Yes Fund is generously supported by its founding partners: North Point, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Ebonite, 900 Global, Hammer, Cubica AMF, Rotogrid, Storm, and Track. For more information about the Yes Fund, go to bowl.com/yesfund.
Underway with our final game here on our men's pair. Tyler Green on the left side of your screen there, Robert Morris. Brady Collup from Purdue on the right side of your screen. Also Jeremy Zimmerly of Urbana on this pair, this final game. Women's standings. They are final now after 8 games. Jazreel Tan, 1860, takes the top seed in the match play. Tanya Ramanpur of Wichita State is second at 1779. Dasha Kovalova is third from Wichita State at 1676. Jackie Carbonetto qualifies fourth at 1661. Christina Michelson of Nebraska qualifies fifth at 1635. You can find the full list of standings on bowl.com/ISC. Just got the bracket handed to me here for the women. Our first round matchups going to be Jessica Ernest versus Carrie Hopkinson, Caitlin Mayall versus Morgan O'Brien, Alexa Anderson versus Erin Michaelfelder, Samantha Johnson versus Samantha Morlack. The top 4 bowlers got a bye. On the women's side and the men's side. Or, I'm not sure about the men's side, but on the women's side, the top 4 get a bye, so they only have to win 1 match to make it onto the TV show. We'll get that bracket up on bowl.com as soon as possible. So we are in the 4th frame of our final game of qualifying here. Match play scheduled to start at 12:45 Central Time. Watching live coverage of the xbowling Intercollegiate Singles Championships qualifying round here on Bowl TV. Our final game of qualifying on the men's side. The women are done with their qualifying, and match play coming up a little bit later. A little less than 2 hours from now. James asking in the chat what the format is for the match play. It's single elimination, 3 games total pinfall. Brady trips the 4 for the strike in the 5th. Televised finals for the top 4 men and top 4 women who survive match play will air on CBS Sports Network in May. We'll have 4 shows produced this week, and they'll air every Friday in May at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And all those shows are going to be taped on Saturday right here at Sun Valley Lanes. during the break. They will rerun the lanes. In fact, John Janowitz has already started running the lane machine down on the low end of the bowling center. Pattern is 44 feet, 25 and a half mils, 2.61 to 1 ratio. It is USBC Sport Bowling compliant. Brady trying to cover up the split here, and he does in the 6th. So we've got about 4.5 frames to go here in this final game of qualifying. You can find all of the results on bowl.com/ISC. bowl.com/ISC, or you can click the link right under the video you're watching for the direct link to the results. Wrapping up the 8th frame. There's a strike for green. It's a double. After 7 games, Mike Kahn leading at 1671. A.J. Johnson second, 1622. Jeremy Zimmerly in third at 1616. Zimmerly of Lindenwood. He is on this feature pair this game. You're about to see him up on the right lane. Brock Finch in 4th, Andy Mills in 5th. Out of the top 5 after 7 games. Here in the men's qualifying. The women's qualifying is completed. And we'll get that women's bracket on bowl.com as soon as we can. Should be on there shortly. I was handed a printed copy of it, so hopefully they'll be working to get that bracket up on bowl.com soon. Tyler Green looking to extend the string of strikes to 3 in a row here. And he leaves the 4-9 split in the 9th. .237 for Zimmerly, 147 Collop, and Green finishing it out here. Going to be at a max of 214 as we wrap up qualifying. .214 for Green as qualifying comes to a close here.
This live event is brought to you in part by the Yes Fund. The Youth Education Services Fund is a joint initiative of the bowling industry dedicated to development and marketing of youth bowling at all levels. The Yes Fund is generously supported by its founding partners: North Point, Brunswick, Columbia 300, Ebonite, 900 Global, Hammer, Cubica AMF, Rotogrid, Storm, and Track. For more information about the Yes Fund, go to bowl.com/YesFund.
We're going to take a break here. We'll get started at 12:45 Central Time, 1:45 Eastern Time with match play here at the Intercollegiate Singles Championships. You can keep an eye on the standings and the brackets at bowl.com/ISC.